Hello, Namaste, Sat Shri Akal and Adab. The topic for today's video is something that is considered to be a taboo topic because it makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. But it is a problem and we must speak about this openly. The topic is child sexual abuse and this may be very triggering for some of us. So at any point during the video, if you feel uncomfortable, it's important to do some breathing and grounding exercises. I've mentioned the link to two of these videos in the description box below. I've divided the video into 4 parts. The first part is why sex is not a need for children. The second is what the needs of a child are and how sexual abuse negatively impacts the self-esteem of a child. The third part is during sexual abuse, when children are unaware of what's happening, and later when they have a realization of what has happened. And the fourth part is the signs of sexual abuse among children. Maslow introduced a pyramid with the hierarchy of needs in human beings, and at the bottom of the pyramid, which is the broadest part, we see the basic needs, which are food, water and shelter. But as we go higher up, we see the psychological needs. So as humans, we feel the need to feel safe, to form healthy social bonds, a healthy self-esteem, and also the need to self-actualize, which means that we try to establish an identity or make a name for ourselves by using our full potential. But for children, sex is not a need. So let's always bear in mind that children can never consent to sex. So this means that any sort of sexual interaction with a child is abuse. So what are the basic needs of a child other than food, water and shelter? Children require safety, approval and validation. This in turn will help them build a healthy self-esteem and self-image. So we always need to make sure that we create a safe environment for children at home and in school and everywhere in between. If these needs are not met, the self-esteem, self-trust and self-confidence of a child are negatively impacted. When a girl has healthy interactions with the males in her family or in school, it is shown to her that she can have non-sexual relations with people of the opposite sex, and the same applies to boys. But if the child is sexually abused, then the concept of a relationship with the opposite sex gets distorted and it often gets sexualized. I want to make it very clear here that children are never responsible for their own abuse and they never ask for it. So children behaving sexually or promiscuous is a learned behavior and it happens at a subconscious level. So let's try to understand how this happens. Up to the age of 6, the brain of a child shows theta and delta wave activity, which is very similar to our sleep or hypnotic state. So imagine a child's brain being like a sponge which would just take up anything, or like an empty vessel which would just store anything. Children begin to critically analyze only from the age of 7. That is when they literally become conscious. So they start thinking of what is good, what is bad, what they like and what they don't like. But the catch is that children are trained to obey without questioning. So take this as an example. Imagine a child who's playfully running around and calling the parent to play along, but the parent, instead of playing, hits the child. So the child feels shocked. Eventually, the child stops doing this simply because of the fear of being hit or punished in any form. This conditions or trains the child to submit to an authoritative figure. During sexual abuse, children do not know what is happening to them is wrong or is a violation. They assume that they are being good because they are obeying the perpetrator, and what is happening is a reward or an act of trust. These feelings are new feelings to the child and these are pleasurable. So this further solidifies to the child that all of this is good. Perpetrators are extremely manipulative and tactful. They very carefully groom the child. So they try to gain the child's trust by taking the child out shopping, giving gifts, and giving exactly what is forbidden. They also try to create a conflict between the child and the caretaker by painting a bad image of the caretaker and creating a sort of team against that person. Remember, if a minimum of 2 needs are fulfilled without keeping a check on the frequency, it becomes an addiction. So the perpetrator tries to fulfill these needs and this creates a cycle of addiction between the child and the perpetrator. When the child realizes what has happened is wrong and is not normal and it does not happen to every other child, the child experiences a sense of shame and guilt. And if this is left unchecked, this could very often lead to crippling anxiety and depression. Sometimes, out of curiosity, some children may come to us and ask us what sex is about, and they may even confide in us. But some children may just internalize these emotions and they may become quiet and unresponsive, or they may start showing very erratic mood changes. Either way, it's extremely important that we tactfully educate the young ones about what sex is, about the concept of consent, and about good touch and bad touch. More importantly, if they confide in you about something that has happened to them along the lines of sexual abuse, do not make them feel guilty or ashamed of it. Reassure them that you are here to support them, that you care for them, and that they can rely on you. Do not say things like, I'm sure you did something to ask for it, you deserve this, or forget about it, this happens, this is very normal, this happens, or you are just trying to seek attention, or why did you let this happen, why didn't you push the person away, why did you not say no, and the big one, why are you telling me this now? Do not say things like that. The last part is, what are the signs of sexual abuse among children, and how can we see and tell that there is definitely something fishy going on? Children may start behaving promiscuous or sexual, they may start showing mood changes, or they may start role playing, they may get inappropriately touchy with friends they're just supposed to be playing with. A very frank sign is that if you say a word which coincides with the code word that the perpetrator uses, and you see the child doing something very, very different out of the blue. For example, if you say the word chocolate or toffee and the child kisses you or takes off the shirt and kisses you, then this is a very frank sign that the child is being sexually abused, and this sign should not be ignored. You have made it to the end of the video, and this will not be my last video. I will be making more on this subject and uploading more frequently this time. Why do I care? It's because I am a survivor of child sexual abuse myself, and this was incest. A space that was supposed to be safe for me was where I was violated, and I want to share with you what I have been doing, what I have done, and what I am doing, and what I plan to do to help myself heal. And I want to tell you that healing completely from this is totally possible. I believe it is possible. You are beautiful, you are loved, and you have infinite potential to achieve all your dreams and all of your goals, and the world is lucky to have you. You are worth it, and I'm sending you all of the sunshine.